Perfect. We're recording this now. So case study 3 in module 2 is the example for this quiz question. So you would look at case study 3. I think there is a video provided also on the case study itself on how it's put together. And then you're imagining you're now doing the sequel of this movie. This is basically a franchise movie, and you're now doing the second movie taking in London. The budget that you're doing the movie for is $12 million. And you will apply the same assumptions that are given in the case study 3 in your module. The same financial assumptions will apply, and we'll go through them in a minute. And the question would be, what net revenues would we have if we increase the production budget? So basically, this quiz question asked you, if you do case study 3, everything is the same, and the only thing you're changing is the budget, how much money is going to be your net revenue? That's the question. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to do this together. I'm going to move this over here. Do you see the case study?
Yes.
Okay. So here's our budget. It's $12 million. We're clear. In the case study, it says 75% of our budget is going to be the estimated, meaning projected revenues from distribution in the international territories, meaning everything outside of the US, meaning how much money can we make outside of the US? And the sales agent tells us, and we're estimating it's 75% of the budget. That's where the 9 million coming from, because 75% of 12 million is 9 million. The pre-sales that we're now doing, we're starting to sell some territories out of these rights. We're now getting real. We're selling rights. So from the projections that we had that were 9 million, we're now starting to sell stuff. And we're selling 35% of the budget worth in distribution agreements. So 35% of the budget is going away now because we're selling those rights. And that's why we're left with, in the end, we'll get to that. I think it's 6.6. We'll get to the point. But the more important point is you have to understand that from your sales bucket of all the rights, you're now taking some territories out because you're selling them. And that's what your pre-sales are. 35% of the budget as your pre-sales is 35% of 12 million, and that is $4.2 million.
Yes.
Now, when I look at my entire bucket of rights, $9 million, and I deduct the 4.2 million pre-sales that are now being removed from my bucket of rights, what am I left with?
4 million.
4.8, right. So that is where the 4.8 million are coming from, because that's what you have left to sell. And it's an important number to remember, because that is the number the bank will look at later when they give you a gap loan. That's why we need to know that number. So the US rights are sold for 20% of the budget, which is $2.4 million in this case. That's all it is. So 2.4 million of 12 is 2.5. So that's where we are right now. So we did some estimates, we did some pre-sales, and we're looking at US being sold when the movie is finished, by the way. The pre-sales are being sold while we're putting the movie together, so I can use them later with my bank loan, but the US rights will not be sold until the movie is finished, so I can't really get a loan for them. So when I say to you, these rights are sold when the movie is finished, that means they become part of your recoupment later when you make money with your movie. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so the bank loan for pre-sales, I'm just using here the $4.2 million pre-sales. This is a very simple case study. It doesn't even talk about interest rates and nothing else. So all the bank does it gives me the exact amount for my pre-sales as I have my pre-sales. That is all that's happening here right now. It's a very simple case study. So we have 4.2 million in pre-sales. The bank gives us 4.2 million as a pre-sale loan, right?
Yes.
We have 4.8 million left that we can still sell. The bank will give us half of that, 2.4 million, as a gap loan. So now when I put those two loans together, the 2.4 and the 4.2, I get to 6.6. That's my bank loan. Yay.
Okay.
All there is to it. So now I'm
Mhm.
shooting this thing in a production incentive region that gives me 20% of the budget. 20% of $12 million is $2.4 million. Nothing is being deducted here. This is a very simple case study. So we're getting $2.4 million. Yay. After I sum the 2.4 and the 6.6, I am still needing money. So I get $3 million in equity to make my $12 million budget. Right? Because I'm adding my bank loan and I'm adding my incentive, and then I get to a subtotal of, let's see.
Yeah, the 25% of the production.
So let me see what this plus this is. Should be 9 million. So if I add those two together, what I have is a bank loan of 6.6, and I have my production incentive of 2.4. I have 9 million. I need 12. So that's why I'm getting the rest from the equity investor. And now I have my $12 million budget financed.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're
Okay.
talking about paying people back. We are getting our international revenues, which were 9 million, which we had up here. See, is it?
Yes.
This 9 million here. We're now making the money. It's coming in. Here's where it's coming. Yay, we're selling our international. Yay, we're selling our domestic. Yay, we have 11.4 million total from international and domestic. Right?
Yes.
Now we have to pay a few people. We have to pay the collection agent 1%. Always. 1% of whatever comes into the collection account. We're going to pay the sales agent 12% because they want 12% as a sales fee. They also want 1% as distribution expenses. And then we pay the $6.6 million bank loan back. And then we pay the equity investor back. We're not even talking about premium here because it's a very simple finance plan in the beginning. So our entire expenses with all these people that we have to pay back, which is the people that we got money from up here,
yes,
is going to be 11,196. Our distribution rights revenues were 11,400,000. So I made 11,400,000. I have to pay 11,196,000 in expenses, and that leaves me with a net revenue of $204,000. That's all this is.
I see. I had started trying to get that. You know, I realized that you got to just read it all and it flows right like that. I started picking that up.
Good. So if you rewatch this recording, you will remember this is a very simple study. We just put money in from the sources, and then we pay the money back as we should. And then we're just deducting all our revenues. We're deducting all the expenses from all our revenues, and we're getting to a net revenue of 204. I'm going to send this to you also, in addition to this recording, okay?
Okay. Okay.
That's case study question 2. So let's move on to the next one. Let me see what our next quiz is. Courses. Let me just go to the next quiz. I think quiz 3 you had a question about, I think. Let me see here. 3, let's see what we have there. Let me go to the question. Oh, there is no case study in quiz 3, looks like. It only has 5 questions.
Okay. Oh yeah, that
Would
was
that
the
be?
one.
All right, so there's nothing there. So let's go to quiz 4.
Okay.
Quiz 4, where do I have you? Quiz 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's see what we have here. I think that's the equity one, but I'll check.
Okay.
Question 5, yes. Okay, so we're going to do quiz 4, question 5. Let me try to pull it up for us. Oh no. This is gone. Let me check something real quick. It's still converting. Okay. I want to make sure I'm not changing anything. This is converting good. So let me find quiz 4, question 2. It's not quiz 4, it's quiz 4, question 5. That's what it is. Un momento, por favor. Okay, just have to get to the right. I have so many quizzes in here. I want to do the right one, you know?
Yes.
Quiz 4, question 6, but we want question 5. Here we go. I'm going to open that up. There we go. So first I'm going to close this one. I'm going to file. I'm going to save this as Marilyn, so I know what to send you.
Okay. Thank you.
That's on my desktop. So that way I'll send all of them over to you at once, and you can always look at them again with the recording, you know?
Yes.
So now we're moving this one. This can go bye-bye. So I'm moving this one over here. Let me just check my recording real quick. I want to make sure I'm saving this when it's time.
Okay.
100%. So give me a second.
Yes.
Yeah. So everyone can watch the recording later, and they're going to be happy campers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's happening? Hold on. No, go away. I lost the recording. Hold on. Oh. Oh no.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
I know, right? It's
oh my
crazy.
gosh.
I don't know where it went. Holy shit. I have to look at it later. Anyway, it's somewhere. See, now it's gone somewhere. I'm sure I'll find it. Okay, so this one, I'm going to just make this a little smaller. So what we're doing here is we're talking about 2 scenarios. So in the one scenario, I'm going to tell you here, this is the scenario of a finance plan where an investor just gives you $10 million.
Okay.
You have nothing here. You see, everything is zero. You have no other finance sources because an investor hands you a check for $10 million.
Okay.
You're going to obviously do your projections because you need to know how much your movie is worth. So you're seeing that 75% of international distribution revenues, again, 75% of the budget are coming from international and 35 are from domestic, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So we're calculating those two together. We're getting $11 million in revenues.
Yes.
And the investor gave us 10 million bucks. So now we have to pay the investor back, and we have to see what does it look like. Here's what that looks like. We have the 11 million here that come into the collection account right now, right?
Yes.
We're selling now. We're paying our collection agent the 1%, as we always do.
Mm-hmm.
We're paying our sales agent for the work they have done in selling all these rights, a 16% fee.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a bank loan that we pay back because we didn't use a bank loan. We do have our equity of $10 million that we have to pay back.
Mm-hmm.
We should theoretically also have our premium, but we're already seeing that we don't have enough money, so we're not even putting the premium in here.
Okay.
Because we can already see just by those, we are much more than the recoupment, than than the revenues. Because we have 11,870,000 as expenses already now without even the premium in there. And we're only making $11 million, right?
Yes.
So we're losing $870,000.
So you have to do something creative.
That's what we're doing next.
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying, this is not working. So we're going to do the same movie using the finance sources that we have learned about. So here's what's going to happen. It's the same movie, which is why it has the same estimates and the same revenues, because it's the same movie. We're just financing it a different way, right?
Right.
So now we're doing pre-sales of 35% of the budget. We're getting, obviously, the prepayment from the distributors of 20%, so 700,000. So this is the first money we're getting. The people that buy our distribution rights, they pay us 20% down. So we're getting $700,000. Yay. Then we go to the bank. The bank says, of course we're cash flowing your pre-sales. Great, we're going to give you $3,500,000. But of course, we need to reduce it by the 20% that you already got, because you already got it. So the 700,000 down payment is being deducted here, which is why the loan is only 2.8 million in this case, right?
Yes.
So the next one is the collateral. We have to figure out how many rights do we still have available. In this case, it's $4 million. And the gap loan says, okay, but I'm only giving you half of that, which is $2 million. The rights here are the rights we haven't sold yet. The bank says, I give you only half of that. So that's how we get the bank loan of 2 million bucks. So right now the bank is giving us 2.8 million and 2 million. Together, 4.8 million as a loan. Right? Because it's always pre-sale loan and gap loan.
Yes.
We are going to go and shoot this in a production region as we always do. We get 20% of the budget, we get $2 million. So if I sum this all up, I have $2 million incentives, I have $4.8 million from the bank, and I have 700,000 in down payment. I have to say, okay, how much is that? Let me see how much that is. It's 7.5 million. This is what we have right now. So what do we need in order to cover our 10 million? It's 2.5 million. So far, so good. That's our finance plan. Well, how does it look like when we have to pay everyone back? What does that look like? So we're going into recoupment. And so now we're doing this. Again, we're going to get 3.5 million from the US, as we said we would. We're going to get 7.5 million from international, as we said we would. So the 11 million are there, as there always were in all the cases, right? We have to reduce the down payment that we already received and used, because that's not going to get paid twice. So our revenues are now 10,300,000 because we're deducting the 700,000 from the 11 million, sorry. Right?
Yes.
That's how we get to 10,300,000.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So now we have to pay people again. Again, we're paying our collection agent 1% of the 10,300,000, which is 103. We're paying the sales agent the sales fee. We're paying the bank loan back. We're paying the equity investor back. And now we're paying the premium that the equity investor gets also, which is 20% on his money. And altogether, we have expenses of $9,663,000. What are we left with is 637. So what I want to show here is the difference between using equity and how risky that is, and using the finance sources that you're learning about. This is this exercise to show you the difference. A movie that lost $870,000, the same movie makes $637,000 only because you are changing the finance sources.
Oh. Wow.
That makes sense right now.
Yes, changing the finance sources.
That's all we did. We just put the finance sources in that we're learning about. That's the only difference. So I will save this as well for Marilyn, and I'm going to send you this too.
Thank you.
Of course. But at least you understand now what we're doing here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's, as I told you, it's much easier when we get on the phone or on this Zoom, isn't it though?
Yes, it is, because that's how
I told you. All right, let's go to the next quiz question, which is question 6 in that quiz. Let's open that up. So in the quiz, we have a movie that's 20 million bucks. Right?
Yes.
Hold on a second. I'm going to take that later. So the movie is 20 million bucks, and we're now doing the same thing. 70% of the budget is international sales estimates. 35% is pre-sold as pre-sales while we're putting the movie together. And once we are done shooting the movie, we're going to make 7 million from the US. So this is what we're making with this movie, $22 million. We just have to figure out, okay, this is what we're making. Good. So now we're putting our finance sources together again. We're going to have 7 million in pre-sales that the bank will give us a loan for. We're going to have 1.4 million of that prepaid to us, which is the down payment. So the bank loan will go down to 5.6 million, exactly what we did before.
Okay.
Now, however, we do the next step. We're adding the interest fee. That's all we're doing. That's the only difference. The bank is charging us 5% interest. So now we have to deduct that. And that's why the loan goes down to $5,320,000.
Mm-hmm.
All that happened here is same thing like before, but we're paying interest now. We're being charged in interest. That's it. The gap loan, we have the unsold right of $8 million because we're looking at what are the sales estimates, how much have we sold, and we're deducting what we sold. What are we left with is what we still can sell, and that is called unsold rights. $8 million worth. The bank will only give us $4 million because they only ever give us half. So that's why the gross gap loan is $4 million. We're now paying an interest, $9 million, 9%, 360,000. Let me just send them. I call you right back.
Okay.
So the loan goes down to $3,640,000. So the total bank loan, if we look at all the net amount, 3.640, 5.320 comes to 8.9 million and some change. It's what we're getting. We also need to know what we need to pay the bank, which is all the amounts that include the interest, because we have to pay the interest later in the recoupment. So we're making sure that we remember what that is, which is why I made this red, because this is the expenses that we're paying back later. So that's that. And again, here's what we're doing. In this case, we're going to an incentive region that gives us 25% of our budget, which in this case is 25% of 20 million, which is 5 million. And now we're paying a fee. So all that is different here now is you get to deduct the fee that you pay to the incentive lender that gives you the loan. That is why your incentive is $4,250,000. So we're figuring out how much money have we collected so far from all these sources. It's $14,610,000. What do we need from our equity investor? It's $5,390,000. That is all that's happening here. It's the same case study than before. The only thing you're doing is you're adding the interest charges now.
Okay.
The only difference. Same thing, you're just adding interest charges and you're now learning to deduct those. So now we have to pay people, as always. So we're getting our international, we're getting our domestic, and of course, we already got the 1.4 million in down payment, so we deduct that. So we're left with 20,600,000 from the revenues, right?
Yes.
As always, we're now paying people. Collection agent 1%, sales fee as always, and the expenses. In this case, we're paying someone different for the US. That's the only other difference. Usually what happens is the sales agent sells all the international rights for around 16%. Usually it's anywhere between 15 and 25%. The US rights are usually sold by talent agencies like CAA, ICM, UTA, and they only charge 5%. So we're making the distinction here for the first time in saying the US rights are sold by someone else, and they're only charging us 5%. So it's 5% of $7 million, and it's 16% of 15 million, which is the international. So you just have to remember, when you have someone charging for US rights and someone charging for international, you have to charge it on the US and the international revenues, so you know how much you need to pay, right?
I see. Okay.
Paying our bank loan back, which is now the loan including the interest rate, was worth $9.6 million. We're paying the equity, the 5.3 million. We're paying 20% on the equity, which altogether comes to 19,024,000 in expenses. When we deduct 20,600,000, we deduct the expenses from that, we are left with $1,576,000. In this case study, we pay now profit participation for the first time. And the profit participation is paid from the net profits. So what we're left with, we're sharing the goodies. We're sharing 13.48%, which is 50% of what the investor paid earlier, which is 26.95. That is the relation. So $5.3 million is 26.95% of the budget of 20 million. That's what that means. And I have to pay half of that as a profit participation and half of 29.65 is 13.48. So I put that
Oh,
down
yeah.
there, and then 13.48% of 1.576 million is 212. And then the cast and director wanted 40%. So altogether, I am left with, after I pay these people, with
Mhm.
733,154.20.
Got it.
That's all that's happening here. So I'm going to save that too. And
Wow.
then save as Marilyn. I'll send you
Wow,
that as well.
thank you so much, Janet. Wow, this helps a lot to see it clearly now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is really all we did so far, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to send you those three. I'm going to send you this recording. So what you should do is you take the templates, you put zeros everywhere, and you try it again on your own by watching this recording and see what you come up with.
Yes.
That is a good
should come up with the same number that you have there.
Right. So what you're doing is you save it first on your computer as it is, and then you save the same file as a template file and put all zeros everywhere.
Okay.
And that's going to be your training tool.
Yes.
Right? So now you go, okay, I have to use the training tool. I have the answers right here in this other sheet, but I want to make sure I get to the same answer. So have the one sheet on the right side, the other one on the left side, and then just try to do it yourself and see if you get to the same answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, this is great because in my brain, the more I do it, the more it'll train me to keep doing it that way.
That's exactly why I'm suggesting it. That's
Thank
exactly
you.
why
Wow.
I'm suggesting it. So I'm going to send you this recording as well. And
Thank you so much.
And then you have it for the record. This is all it is. So the next thing that we're going to add is P&A. So there's going to be a P&A investment. How do we recoup the P&A investment? How does that work when we split revenues with the studio and with the theater owner? That's the next level. Then you're done. And that is all you have to learn about finance, because then you know it all. That's it. I think I'm going to do one TV show, which is very similar to the movie, that is very similar to what you just learned here. So that's going to be the two things that you're going to learn. You're going to learn a finance plan for a television series and a finance plan for a movie that's theatrically released and that has to pay P&A back. And that's all.
I see. That's wonderful, Janet. Wow. And I was reading all about you and everything, and you've done so much, girl. It's amazing. I was like, wow. Ooh, I was just reading all of your stuff, and it's just, you're an amazing person. Just, it's an honor.
Very kind. That is very kind.
Yeah.
We all go to the same peapod, as I say. But there's, we all do what we do, and we do the best we can. And you're doing the same thing. I just want you to have all the tools to be able to really dive into this the way you can do best.
Yes,
so
because I never said that I'm sorry, I never said that I was into math and all that. When I was in school, it's a sad thing that happened. My mom and dad were poor. They moved us all out to South Central LA. And as brilliant as I am, the teachers who I did have the opportunity, they picked that up immediately. And my dad was an alcoholic. We never had any self-esteem, and it wasn't a good life I lived, but with what I had.
You did amazing.
Thank you. He said one thing to me, and he said, always do your best. If you can't do it right, don't do it at all. He couldn't read, and I taught him how to read.
Wow.
And that made me feel happy. I read all kinds of psychology books because I felt like instead of me partying, I could be reading psychology books and learning what makes a person tick. So it turned out where now that I'm writing my books, I can add that psychology for all those years when I was not partying with all those young kids.
Right.
And now, but I love you so much. And
I really appreciate it. But you're doing great. And I knew that when we do this, you'll be fine because you're a very smart lady. You did a lot of things. You're very accomplished. There is no reason why you can't do this. There isn't. I have to tell you, failed math in school.
Oh my God.
I'm totally not a math person. And I know it has to do with the teacher because I'm not a dumb person. But the teacher is the key. And the teacher was not able to really translate it to me the way I understood it. It just didn't get into my brain. So I made it up with biology and science. I had other things that I could make it up with.
Yes.
But the male, I'm failed is harsh, but I had a very bad grade. I mean, you could basically call it a C minus. So my whole life, it was a disaster with this teacher. And we had one teacher for the longest time because in Germany, the school system is a little different than here.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was just never understanding it, but it really has to do with teachers. So
it is a teacher.
And I'm doing all this math now. I still make mistakes. We all make mistakes because it's human.
We do.
Now you know how to do it and you don't have to stress.
Yes.
Just take your time. So as you do the next case studies, and if you get stuck, we'll just do this again.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm very honored and very grateful to have you as my friend. And like you said, I just can't see, it's so emotional because I feel like you're one of the teachers I had in school, Mrs. Hardy. She was so kind to me, and she was like, wow, I just can't imagine. Well, you're just so kind.
No, you deserve it, because I do see, that's why I keep telling you in my emails, you're a perfectionist. I see how smart you are, but I also see how you stress yourself out, and I don't want that for you. I want you to enjoy the path. I want you to have self-confidence by understanding what you're learning, and we're doing it together, and that's how you learn. And you would just take the time, we just get it done, and then you just, I know you'll do it. I know you get it.
I have somebody helping me, like they're professional movie people. They do all this stuff. Like they're doing my movie thing for me, my 60-second trailer. Oh, it's going to be a phenomenal website, Janet. I can't wait till you see it.
I want to see that.
Yeah, and so it's like, I want to just send you the one of the books and my 15-minute motivational. It went all over the world. But who's making the money? I'm not.
I want to see both. Yeah, you need, I'm going to send you the Excel spreadsheets. I'm going to send you the name of the lawyer. I'm going to send you my address. And if I'm forgetting anything, you let me know, because
I'll give you my address too, because we live in Simi Valley.
Oh, great.
And the reason why the book came about, Pandora's Diary, is because during the pandemic, they were stealing everybody's houses and everything. And I was almost raped because I was so determined to get a house. And I went with this guy, he took me out that night to try to tell me he was going to take me to look for a house. That's in the book. All of this is in the book. And it's so much tragedy, but yet there's positive. And I just decided that I would make this book because I needed to tell the world that I got the last laugh after all. And even the demon that's in here, he was so abusive towards me until I just couldn't sing. I was a great singer, and I'm a great singer now, but he made me so my throat would close up. But then over time, as I started relaxing and breathing, I was able to sing, and people were like, oh, wow. I had to separate, and I've done that, and you have helped me to come out. And it's like, I want to just give you this, to be a part of who you have finally met is a little girl who's all grown up and no longer afraid.
I'm so glad. And you will do so well. I have no worries, really. So, sometimes we do go through these terrible, terrible things, but they help us to grow, and they help us to learn, and they help us to be inspiring to other people, which you are. So you really have something amazing. And I'm glad you're sharing this with everyone and doing all this and diving into this crazy course.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare. Had I not done all the things I did to prevent this, I probably wouldn't be here. But I want to get your address so that I can send you the book and the 15-minute. I was on a roll.
Yeah, I'll send you.
I'll
send you an email. Everything.
Thank you. I had never done any kind of videos or nothing, and I just bought myself a camera, and I went out and started shooting. And I came up with all these things, and people started stealing stuff from me, just taking everything. And I felt like, why even do it if they're going to steal it? I literally, in my house, they have come in and taken whatever they wanted. So I had to buy the cameras and so forth like that. And now you see, even on Amazon, I asked him not to sell my videos anymore. He quit. But look what he made off of me. He still has Marilyn's 15-minute, and he puts it with his name to sell his other stuff that he's selling. And he wanted Native Amazon so bad until I won the lawsuit to actually have it trademarked in my name. He was trying to have people stop me from doing that.
Oh, God.
So I've had to fight, Janet, just to hold on to Native Amazon. It's been a fight, and I can't give up.
No, don't give up. Don't give up. But I'm sorry you have to go through all this. This is terrible.
It is. And I'm not making the money. I've got 3 children
Yeah.
that have seen me pour my heart out. And yet people like these stupid author house people, they're evil.
Yeah.
So if we can get to the bottom of this, you know, maybe I can start getting some more of those residual checks.
Correct. Exactly. Absolutely. All right. I'll give you my lawyer's name. He's fantastic. He really is very good.
I look forward to it, Janet. And my second book, it should be released pretty soon. And the third, as you know, I have imagination more than anything, creativity.
Right.
But this has given me power, what we did today, because now, you know I will have you as my friend forever, you know, and God forbid, if I can help you in any way, Janet, you have my number. I'll give you everything.
Yeah.
And for lunch sometimes and whatever.
When I'm back in LA, I'm still in Maui. When I'm back in LA, I definitely let you know.
Oh, that would be awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure, my absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
All right, my dear. I will let you go.
Okay.
And you go have a nice Saturday, and I will send you the recording link as well.
I will. God bless you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.